All right, these are my people.
Have you ever felt like you shouldn't vote? Like your vote doesn't matter just because you're young, or like you don't care about politics because it's a lost cause? Well, this year's midterm election results might just change your mind. The 2022 midterm election saw an unprecedented surge of voters under the age of 30. Now, I've done extensive research into this topic, and I can assure you that every source that I have used is credible. As America's youth, I believe that it is our responsibility to be informed on what is going on in our elections, especially this one, because as you will find out, this election was monumental for young voters like us. My first point is that young voters voted more in this midterm election than they have in the past by a significant margin. A 2022 article by The Hill stated that nearly 30% of young adults between the ages of 18 and 29 are estimated to have voted in the 2022 midterm elections, marking this the second highest youth vote out in 3 decades. This shows that young voters are fed up with older generations being the only people with a say in the way that our country is run. And it also shows that despite the stigma that young people don't vote, Gen Z is pulling up to these elections and proving everybody wrong. But this upsurge in voters was not a one-time thing. This is a trend, not a fluke. A 2022 article in USA Today found that high youth voter turnout in 2018 could have been a fluke. And in 2020, it could have been a coincidence, but in 2022, they have solidified high youth voter turnout as a pattern. This trend is growing. After this election, more and more youth voters will go to the stands and make their voices be heard. Keep in mind, this is a midterm election. Midterm elections have a history of having a lower turnout overall. So the fact that so many young voters pulled up and made their voices heard in this election shows that we are stronger than we think we are. And it also shows that we were able to make a difference. A 2022 interview with Texas Senator Ted Cruz has him saying that he was incredibly optimistic heading into the midterm elections, saying he was confident that there will be a red tsunami, and predicting big victories for Republicans in the House and Senate. But as we saw during the actual midterms, that didn't happen at all. It was a very even election, and that is partially due to all the young voters who showed up and voted blue. A 2022 article in the Inquirer even writes, experts say that young people's tenacity may have been the difference between the Republicans' promised red wave and the actual midterm results, which saw Democrats losing fewer U.S. seats than expected and even flipping Pennsylvania's Senate seat blue. This shows that young voters going blue has stopped the Republican Party's red wave, showing that young voters have way more power than anyone gives us credit for. And we have the power to change the way that this country is run. So in conclusion, this election has proved to the world that Gen Z is not a politically mute generation. It proves that everyone has a voice and everyone can be heard, no matter the preconceptions. In this election, not only did Gen Z pull up, they also proved everyone wrong by combating the red wave and changing the result of the election. This election also shows that young people voting is not a one-time thing. Even during a midterm, young people are setting new records every time an election rolls around.